Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita, rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and I'm so happy to be here with you again today. And what I'm going to be covering is information from my book, Shaping Your Future, Becoming the Brand Everyone Wants, because we are a brand. And it's very important, the messages that we give off to people in order to be successful and feel fulfilled in our lives. And so I'm going to be talking a lot today about the perception is reality, effectively communicating with anyone to begin with. And then I'm going to switch over to a lot of the things that your brand will tell people when you're looking for a new career, you're looking for a job, maybe have some questions on how do I go about it, what do I do, what kind of impressions am I giving off to other people. So I will talk a little bit about our perception because that's critical in every area of our lives, and certainly in job search and the kind of career that you would want to have. So I'll do a little bit of both today. And so first of all, talking about our mental attitude, because that's just about everything. We can have so much stuffed in the back of our subconscious mind, which is about 90 to 95% of what actually causes us to behave a certain way, to do a certain thing. And so our conscious mind kind of does what our subconscious has been trained to tell it what to do. And so we have to be very careful with our mental attitude. And so it affects our personalities, completely affects our personalities, what our mental attitude is and how we feel about ourselves in general, but then also how do we feel about ourselves when we're comparing ourselves to everyone else in the world, whether it's personally or on television or wherever. And so the more you can keep a flexible, positive attitude, mental attitude, the stronger you become, because if we don't have a stronger mental attitude, we become weaker and weaker. And a lot of people just give up at that point. I'm seeing people sleeping on the street, down in the old market, different places. And so basically their mental attitudes were very affected and caused them to just kind of give up on life. I'm working with a ministry on Monday nights for women who have been incarcerated or, addicted to whether it was drugs, alcohol, or whatever. And so it's really been interesting to see the mental attitudes of the women, but it's a blessing to see how no matter what's happened to them, how they're changing, they're growing in their lives and moving forward. And I just love those ladies. I mean, they're working so hard to transform their lives from something that was very, very tough, and they're still going through. And so that's a mental attitude that's being strengthened day after day to move forward into their new life. And so think about that. And so the stronger that you become at controlling your life, the better it will be not only for you, but for your family. You know, so many of those women, they have children, some they've lost their children, some they're, get them back eventually. So they're again proving that they have to have strong mental attitudes that are bringing them into a fulfilling life now. And so, but we all need to do that in order to move forward. I struggled a lot of my life with having a very poor mental attitude, not feeling like I was worth anything, and therefore my decisions and treatment were accordingly. And so our attitude is basically everything, and that controls the perceptions that we have of ourselves, as well as the perception we have of other people and how we believe other people see us. And so it all ties together. So even though we cannot control other people, we can control our reaction to them. And if things get very negative or they're not good for you, then we can change the attitude from accepting it, even though maybe it hurts, to saying, nope, no more, and moving forward. And so sometimes that takes a lot of work, but it's certainly worth it, and I'm seeing the results of that a lot. So one of the exercises in the book is having people think about what types of communication do you see in other people, okay? Because if you watch, if you watch, the body language and what it's exhibiting, that's going to give you a lot of impressions about what this person thinks, how you look at them, okay? So start watching other people. What kind of communication are they giving off? Happy, angry, excited? What is their communication skill? Because we want to be around people who are positive and even when they're hurting, then we want to be there for them, but to help lift them up. And so what kind of impression are you getting from other people? And if you start watching that, it's amazing. Sometimes I would say, hey, turn the television volume down so you can't hear, and watch their body language, watch their facial expressions, and try to pick up on the kind of cues or clues that they're giving you. Are they angry? Are they just being really controlling? Are they brutish? Are they loving? Are they feeling like they're worthless? And, then you can hit the rewind and go back after you listen, at least, watch at least 2 or 3 minutes and see what do they actually say? And then you'll really understand how important body language is and the kind of communication skills and the kind of impression we're giving off to other people when you do that. Think about their overall appearance, because we judge people, as I've said before, within the first 7 seconds of meeting them. And we're judging things like their self-esteem, their outlook on life, their educational and levels, their trustworthiness, social position, and even judging their future success sometimes. Oh, they don't look like they're going anywhere. I don't want to really get involved with them. Okay, so we want to think about that and what are the impressions? And then ask yourself, am I giving off any of those impressions? Because I realized that sometimes when I was feeling negative or unworthy, I was giving off signs and energy that was drawing the wrong kind of people to me because they could feel that energy. And so please be really, pay attention to energy that you're getting from them. And then just stop and pause. I've done that several times. It's like, okay, what kind of energy am I giving off right now to that person or these people by how I'm standing, how I'm looking, what my actions are, what am I saying? And there are times that because my mouth naturally droops in the corners, that people have said, well, you look angry, what's wrong? And I wasn't angry at all. It's just my face. So, sometimes think about that too, how you look when you're just kind of spacing off, what kind of expression. Because sometimes we can say, you know what, I'm just sitting here, but I don't want to look all glum. I love to people watch, and a lot of other people do too. So just, even if you're going to smile with your eyes, I always look at people's eyes when I'm talking to them or when they're talking to someone else. Why is that? Because the eyes literally are the windows of the soul. And somebody could say something nice or sweet, or actually it might be a bunch of baloney. And yet what they're saying does not match up with their body signals. Their body may be kind of really stiff. Maybe their fists are kind of clenched, and it's like, but their eyes are saying a whole different thing, or their body language. And so always look at a person's eyes when you're talking to them, especially if it's something important, because if you see anger or sadness in their eyes and they're going, oh no, everything's fine, everything's okay. No, it's not. And so always follow up by looking at those, because the nonverbal signals, including the eyes, are critically important to what the truth is, what's really being said, what's on their minds, and how it's going to affect you as well. So think about that. And so you always want to do that. What kind of impression are they giving to you? Is it something that you need to be a little bit stronger than? Maybe they're giving you the impression that they're going to be a bully. Are you going to have to straighten up your shoulders and, hold your chin up and maybe raise your voice a little. I don't mean yell, but I mean raise your voice more so that they can see that you're not going to be a pushover. Or are you seeing someone that's maybe feeling timid and they already feel badly about themselves? And so maybe you want to soften your approach to them and be maybe more kind, more understanding, ask them some questions about themselves. I'm learning a lot more of that as I'm working with this group now, and proper ways to communicate with people and find out what's on their mind, help them to answer their own questions by continuing to answer, well, how did that happen? Well, how did you feel? So what is your next plan? What do you plan to do now? And it's amazing then how it gets them to talk. So there are a lot of times in this world we have to do the same thing. So then, we want to make sure, are we biting back? Are we giving praise? What are we doing? So start listening to yourself. Start paying more attention possibly to your body language and your eyes and the tone of your voice, and think, okay, what kind of impressions am I giving off now? Because that really does make a difference. Show them that you're engaged in the conversation. And that doesn't mean sitting here like this, looking, kind of dull, but leaning forward, but putting your shoulders back so you're engaged in your conversation with them. And I'll talk more about that when we're talking about interviewing. Okay, so between now and the next class, like I said, watch people's behaviors, see how it makes you feel, see how it makes other people feel. Watch your behaviors and see how they are reacting to you as well. And so think, oh, I guess this is like not being very nice, or I'm being kind of crabby or whatever, and it does affect other people. I had one friend I did a lot of things with in the last couple of years. It's like we're so far apart now because of her anger. She has a nickname, which I won't say. But then another friend that I was fairly close with, now she's kind of turned the same way, whether it's politics or religion or whatever, is angry about everything. So we have recently pretty much cut off our relationship too. It was her choice. I was still being kind, but standing up for my beliefs, and it's like, okay, that's not worth it. So think about that too, because a lot of times you might have to say, we're just going to, you don't even have to usually say anything. You just stop, being with them because of maybe things being so polarized, so opposite of each other's friendship. Because you don't want that. You want to hang around with people and work with people who are going to be somebody that you're compatible with. A lot of times we have to work with people that are pretty obnoxious too, but you can control how you behave back. I know sometimes when people seem kind of, I'll just say like a jerk or whatever, I am learning more and more, hey, that's not my problem. That's not my fault. And so it used to be I needed to be a people pleaser. I didn't want anybody to dislike me because I felt so insignificant. And now it's like, you know what? No, I didn't do anything to deserve that kind of treatment. So they need to find different friends. I need to find a different friend, and that's okay. That's okay. Don't feel badly or punish yourself when somebody is out of your life or that you need to walk away from as well, because that just means better things are ahead, and you don't have to be concerned about feeling like, oh my gosh, there went another one. No, let them go, because God has new plans, and you want to look for those and not be all sad or angry about losing someone that should not be there anymore. There are times and seasons someone may come into your life for a reason, something that you're going to learn, maybe a connection to another person, you grow, and then it's time to part. So not everybody is meant to stay into your life beyond that season, because if it's beyond a certain season, then it usually turns out pretty negative and unhappy, and you don't want that anyway. So think about on an image checkup, as I called it in my book, success starts on the inside with a self-image checkup. Okay, and this is for my workbook that goes with that book. Voice impressions, how are you and what you're feeling? So, how are you? Ask yourself, how am I? Or ask somebody else, how are you? We need to do that a lot more than we do. And what are you feeling? So you just, you can ask yourself, it's like, oh gosh, what is wrong? It's like, well, how are you? Ask yourself that, well, how are you? And just sit there quietly, whether it's even if you have to go in the car or the bathroom or somewhere to get away from some noise, but how are you? And then once you ask that, you're going to go, oh, wow, well, if I stop to think about it, I'm pretty sad because this particular thing happened or didn't happen. I'm really feeling angry right now because of the way so-and-so treated me. I'm really frustrated because I can't seem to get anywhere at work. What's wrong with me? I'm tired of being in this place and I don't know how to get out of it. So how are you? If you ask yourself that and you sit down then and I would always suggest with a journal and paper and pen and you go, oh boy, I am really angry. I'm really upset. I'm really frustrated. Or maybe, gee, I'm really happy now. I'm so glad that I made this decision. I'm so glad that I moved forward and I left over here and went over here and that type of thing. So ask yourself, how are you? And then stop and think quietly, how the heck are you? And then you can say, well, what are you feeling? Yes, I guess I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling upset. I'm afraid. I'm so afraid I'm going to lose this person. I'm so afraid I'm going to bomb this job interview. I'm so afraid of so many things that come along because fear is one of the hardest things that we have to deal with. And I had fear all my life, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. And because of that, it caused a lot of problems. So so what are you feeling? Write your feelings down so you know what you're actually dealing with. And then, pray for one thing. That's very, very important. And maybe thinking of a source. Maybe you just need to get a break for a while. You're caregiving. I've done that. And then, go to a movie, even if it's by yourself, or do something to get a break. Sometimes we just need a break from everything that's going on. Sometimes we just need to get with some friends and laugh. Sometimes we just need a hug, or we see somebody else needs a hug. I'm a hugger. The people they really need those hugs to feel worthy, to feel loved and cared for. So as much as you can in the appropriate places, of course, think about that. There's a couple ladies in that ministry again that they haven't wanted anybody to hug them because the kind of hugs they got before were bad ones. And I've been able to hug a couple of them now, and they know that I really care about them and their lives and moving forward. And, it's a good thing, and they know that. And, I think I mentioned in one of the other programs, one of the ladies that has a big tattoo on her chest right up here that says, hated by many, loved by few. And she was one of them that last week allowed me to give her a hug because she wasn't used to good hugs at all. And so I always think you can actually really help change someone's life by a kind word, a hug if it's appropriate, and saying some good things about them, kind of helping them maybe steer them, see a new direction to go in. This lady with the tattoo also commented how she, in a very humble way, she is so good about helping mediate like arguments and disagreements with other people, whether it's kids, which is awesome. That could be a whole career, and I believe it will be for her as a mediator, and something that could be a counseling or legal area. And she does a really sweet job. But then she turned it on herself and said, I can't do that with myself, though. I can't mediate and try to come into agreement with someone who's been mean or hurtful or something like that. And I thought, okay, all right, so that's an area. But she admitted that she needed to do that. So again, how does that make you feel overall? And so again, the body language is important for sure. That speaks more loudly than actually what you're saying. The tone of voice, listen to how you sound. Because as I've shared before, when I was working for the labor department many years ago, and the lady who was my mentor and I taught modeling for her had called, and I had answered the phone very unprofessionally, and she says, my goodness, you sound unprofessional. And I could have really gotten angry with her. At first, it kind of hurt my pride, but she was always ripping me apart anyway. She said she meant it for good. But anyway, and so I started actually swallowing my pride. I listened to myself and I went, oh my gosh, I sound terrible. I sound very unprofessional for being, working for who I did in the labor department. And I said, oh gosh. And so I changed that to sound professional and represent him and myself and the company in the way it should have been. So the words you use and how people react to you, always watch people's reactions. Don't just let it go or just get angry or something like that. What are their reactions? What are they trying to say? So even think about your face, because our faces speak so clearly about what we're thinking, what we're feeling. And yes, sometimes people have been taught or learned that I show no emotion. I just can't show any emotion, because probably they've been hurt so much, or it's not, manly enough or whatever. And no, we don't want that. But even if somebody seems to be kind of hardcore, look at their eyes, because their eyes are going to say a lot about what's really going on, no matter what kind of maybe stiff personality or the way they treat anybody is. So think about that. So is your body language saying the same thing as the other person? And so you kind of want to sometimes match. And I don't mean that as like, oh, well, I'll be a jerk, because that person is doing that. But body language is so important there too, as far as communicating. So if someone's not listening or paying attention, and sometimes you can just do the steepling method, and I have a program on this, and so you're extending your arms, you're taking up more space, and I guarantee you most of the time they will perk up and they will listen to you if they've been spacing you off. And so if someone, like I said before, is being quiet and shy, maybe tone it down. If someone's being tough, buck up a little bit. And so watch the body language, because it is so important in bringing good relationships about. But your eyes, your walk, your expression, all of those things. Okay, so then perception is reality. And so your personal branding checklist, I have checklists in here, and you can work through the workbook on that. But you want to not only look the part, but act the part of the type of person that you want to be, in the type of career and job you want to have, the kind of friends you want to be around, etc. And so just, you want to look the part. So sometimes we think, well, gosh, I don't have any money. What am I going to do for clothes? I feel like I'm dressing kind of shabby next to the people whose life I would like to eventually get over to. And, personally, I buy just about everything at consignment stores, because you can get very expensive stuff there for practically nothing. And so think of ways in your wardrobe even that you can look the part. And so if people in that job, even on business casual days, still have on like khakis and a nice polo shirt or something like that, then that's what you want to do, rather than maybe a t-shirt that's been washed 5,000 times and a pair of worn out jeans or something like that, if that's allowed in their dress code. And so again, we want to look the part. Now, act the part is also very important, because again, we want to emulate who these people are that we want to actually be associated with, because we're all worthy. You're all worthy of being in people that are positive, good, and working in a successful environment. So then we want to act the part, whether it's, learning manners. Manners are huge. I know a lot of people don't think so anymore, but not only our appearance, but our manners, how we communicate, how we talk with people, maybe more eye contact. If you're very uncomfortable looking people in the eye when you need to have eye contact as you're talking, because I've talked to people who literally just talk like this the whole time with their head down. And it's like, hello, look right here, look right here. Okay, you don't have to look them right in the eye, but it's close enough. So even if you have trouble with that at first, look them here, like you're looking them in the eye, and you can look away, but then also look back. A lot of times, if you let them speak at least 60% of the time, that also helps too, because they know they're being noticed and listened to and heard as well, and that helps too. If you're a little bit shy also, ask them questions about them. a lot of times that gives them this time to just talk, and most people would like that. So before you leave, home, and you're again striving for the better things in life, stand in front of a full-length mirror before leaving home and take a close look at how you look, front side, back side, and what is the hair doing, and we'll talk about that a little bit more too, the grooming. How do you look? Do you look put together or kind of frumpy, like you just threw something on to go mow the lawn? Because there's a huge difference, and people will pick up on that. And if we don't care anymore about ourselves than that, because we only took 5 minutes to throw ourselves together, then they're going to go, well, I don't want them on my team, because are they going to do the same thing with their work? Just kind of sloppy and throw things together. So always think about that. Again, clothes reflect your personality and your commitment to doing a good job. So again, not haphazard, not, professional, organized is very important, rather than being careless. Always look like you're a careful person. Hairstyle, male or female, it doesn't matter. Having it clean and neat and put together. And your voice, talk to yourself. If you record yourself on your phone and then listen back and hear what kind of voice you're projecting to other people. Do you need to make it stronger? Do you need to project more? Do you need to work on enunciating your words? Because a lot of people mumble. And maybe enunciating on words, what's the impression? So I'm going to talk about that some more in the next program. I wish you all the best, and see you soon.